Even though Henry Winkler's parents got away from Nazi Germany, they couldn't stop calling their son dumb dog. He felt ashamed as a child. Going to school was awful. He was bad at reading and math. After that came Hollywood. The famous motorbike that he rode so badly took a lot of work for him. He wasn't really friends with other group members as it seemed. His life was forever changed by the strange choices made by TV bosses. Many people would die if they knew the truth about what happened to Henry Winkler. His birthday is October 30th, 1945, and he was born in Manhattan. In 1939, his parents got away from Nazi Germany just in time. They left everything behind. His uncle did not make it. He was late, and the Holocaust killed him. The family will always remember that terrible event. Henry's childhood was like having a shadow over it. His dad fixed up their New York lumber business. His mom also worked there. They thought that money and schooling would keep them safe. Henry didn't work with their plan though. He didn't understand school. He worked hard but nothing worked. His scores were bad. His parents didn't know what was going on. When he failed, they called him a dumb dog. To punish him, they took away his TV, wouldn't let him go outside, and did it all over again. He wasn't slack, he just couldn't say what was wrong. It wasn't quiet in his house either. His parents had a lot of fights. There were loud fights in their house. He thought he was small and never did anything right. He felt very bad about himself. By the time he was in high school, he thought he was not smart. No one knew he had trouble reading. He was bad at reading. He was bad at spelling. It was awful to do math. He was told to go to the corner. People in his class laughed when he stumbled over words. Not a soul knew how bad it hurt. He didn't know he had a real problem. He learned about it when he was 31 years old. His nephew was the first one to get sick. That's when Henry finally got it. He wasn't to blame. Afterward he told me I wasn't dumb. I had a name for something. Everything changed at that time. It made sense of why school was always so hard, and why he had to remember everything instead of reading. However, he had been unwilling to give up even before that. He made a choice when he was 14. He wanted to be a movie star. That made his parents mad. He was asked to join the family business. But it felt different to act. He felt no shame when he went on stage. He was no longer lost. He was Ben in a school play when he was in the 8th grade. Some people clapped. He didn't feel broken for once. The cheers stuck with him. He kept looking for that feeling. He learned how to remember lines better. He found ways to hide the fact that he had trouble reading. He avoided writing in high school by taking part in conversations. Even in class, he knew how to put on a show. His charm protected him. He kept going after high school. He used 28 different schools, and only got into 2 of them. Boston's Emerson College was one of them. Emerson was his choice, and he studied drama. In case he also studied how kids think and feel. The first 2 years he almost failed, but something worked on stage. He played the lead role in Peer Gynt. His teachers saw real skill in him that other students couldn't. He joined a club, made friends, and slowly became more sure of himself. He got his diploma in 1967. After many years, the same school gave him an honors doctorate. He tried to do something even bigger that same year, at a theater school at Yale. It wasn't likely. It was hard to do the test. He had to put on a Shakespeare show. But when the time came he couldn't think of anything. He forgot every word. After that he did something brave. He made things up. He fixed it right away. It worked in some way. They saw how talented he was right away. They let him in. It was a nice break for him. There was a lot of pressure at Yale. It was hard to write scripts. He kept reading them even though it took him days. He remembered things and went with his gut. When he forgot something he confidently made something up on the spot. The teachers did not notice. His classmates liked how active he was. He later said that he had never read a script word for word. He did what worked for him. He got his Master of Fine Arts in 1970. Only 11 of the 25 actors made it through the whole show. He was one of them. He was chosen to be in the Yale Repertory Theater that same year. That chance was only given to 3 kids. He made $173 every week. The shows were tough and fierce. Shakespeare, Brecht, new plays and creative works. He played all sorts of instruments. He worked all the time. It turned out to be the best place to learn. Even back then dyslexia was not talked about. More work had to be done to get ready than anyone else. He took days to remember what other people read in hours. He made things up when the plans didn't work. No one knew about it because he got so good at it. Later, when he was in Neil Simon's plays, he asked for the script months ahead of time. That's how he dealt with it. He thought he had finally gotten his big break in the fall of 1971. He had just finished a regular run at the Yale Repertory Theater where he made $173 a week. Then he was cast in Moon Children at Washington, D.C.'s famous arena stage. But the dream that began turned into a nightmare. Alan Schneider, the director, fired him after only 3 weeks of practice. The reason was very strong. Winkler never meant to stay. He was just a stand-in until the director's favorite character became available. The shock hit Winkler. In the end, he said that his head felt like cream cheese, and that the director's words seemed to come from a long way away. He was so sad that he put his snow tires back on his car and cried the whole way back to New York City. That lonely ride home wasn't just because they lost their job. It was about giving up hope. He kept telling himself that he might not be good enough to make it. He might not act ever again. Winter didn't want to quit though. He thought of a plan when he got back to New York. If important theater work wasn't going to pay the bills, maybe ads would. He got about 30 ads between 1971 and 1973. It wasn't exciting, but he got steady work, which is something every actor needs. He joined the Manhattan Theater Club with that cushion and did free shows on stage. It was no longer about the money. He was trying to get better, stay in the game, and show himself something. He also joined a comedy group called Off the Wall New York at the same time. It was a good idea. He was free because of commercials. He gained respect in theater, and improvised scenes pushed him in ways that scripted ones never could. All of these things helped him grow in every way. After that, he tried his luck on Broadway. The play Winkler was in on Broadway was called 42 Seconds from Broadway, and it opened on March 11, 1973. That would be a moment that most artists would never forget. But for the wrong reason, this one stood out. The show ran from the first night to the last. There was only one show. It took years of work, hope and goals to get to this point. Gone in less than 24 hours. Winkler made a promise to himself that night. He would fix that one day. One bad night wasn't going to be the main point of his story. In the same year, he began to work in movies. A dirty story about Brooklyn greasers in the 1950s called The Lords of Flatbush gave him a part. He played Butchie Weinstein, and Sylvester Stallone, who was unknown at the time, was one of his co-stars. Getting to be on screen in the low-budget movie helped him learn. At about the same time, he got a part in Crazy Joe as a character called Manny. These weren't big hits in Hollywood, but they were important. They showed him a new way to go. Even though he wasn't told he had dyslexia, he still had trouble with auditions, especially cold reads. He learned how to get around it though. He came up with his own way to read lines and show how he felt. People kept giving him jobs because they could see his raw talent, which was hidden by quiet anxiety but hard to ignore. Something strange happened that summer. His agent kept telling him he should go to Hollywood. He didn't believe it was for him. His background was in stage work, and he saw himself as a New York performer. But in the end, he decided to give Los Angeles a try for 1 month. He paid for the trip with the money from his ads and brought his friend Perry King with him to help him. They got to LA on September 18, 1973. Everything changed in just 5 days. Winkler had a guest spot on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. People saw my small part on one of the most watched shows in the country. That split the door open. Then came the auditions. The interest rose. After a while, Hollywood didn't seem so far away. That first part as a strange dinner guest led to a second tryout. And that second tryout was for Good Times. It was only 6 lines long. He wasn't what the designers were hoping for. They were looking for a tall blonde beauty. That wasn't Winkler. He was 5 feet 6 inches tall, had dark hair, and nothing like that. He was called back for one more try though. Yesterday, October 30th, was his birthday. He walked into the room, changed his voice and read the lines. Then he threw the script into the air and left without saying a word. The whole room just stared. He got the call late that same day. He had the part, but he asked for one thing. He didn't just want to be a cool guy. He wanted to show that this person cared about other people. Not only did that brave audition get him the job, it also changed the past of TV. Winkler's Fonzie was only meant to be a sidekick when Happy Days first aired in January 1974. Like all 1950s greasers, the script for the first show told him to stand in front of a mirror and comb his hair. Winkler thought that was too clear though, so when the cameras came out, he put the comb down, looked at himself in the mirror and nodded like a king. It was clear what he meant. Fonzie didn't need to do anything to his hair. It was great already. The producers tried to stop him, but Winkler didn't give up. That little move became what made Fonzie so charming, peaceful, sure of themselves, and naturally cool. The character went from having a small part to becoming a star in an instant. That cool picture almost never took off though, because of his jacket. They were afraid that letting Fonzie wear leather would make him look like a bad guy. So they made Winkler wear cloth jackets for the whole first season, including a bright green one that didn't look right at all. Gary Marshall, who ran the show, had a thought. To keep Fonzie safe, he only let him wear leather when he was near his motorbike, which he worked out with ABC. Marshall began adding Fonzie's motorcycle to almost every scene. It worked even though it didn't always make sense. By season 2, the leather jacket was always there. It became so famous that Winkler gave one to the Smithsonian in 1980. It is still there as a piece of American culture. That bike did have a secret though. He wasn't even close to being able to ride it. He was really scared of motorbikes. Took it up one time only. It was only 17 seconds long. They asked him to move the bike a few feet one day on set. He couldn't tell the buttons apart, because he had trouble reading. He turned the gas pedal, but couldn't find the stop, so he sped up. The film team jumped out of the way. He and the bike went under a truck. They ran over, but not to check on him. Instead they wanted to see if the rented bike was broken. They then thought of a trick. They put the bike on a piece of wood with rubber wheels, and pulled him around like a child in a wagon. It's funny, but the bike itself was popular once. Steve McQueen used the same one in The Great Escape. Happy Days began in January 1974, but Fonzie was never meant to be a star. He only had 6 lines in the pilot. It was meant to be about Richie Cunningham, played by Ron Howard. Things changed though in December of that year. People went crazy when Fonzie got the stage in a Christmas episode. More than 20,000 screaming fans crowded into a Dallas department store just to see Winkler while he was on a work tour. It got a lot of attention. That's what ABC saw, and began to change the show around Fonzie. They even thought about calling it Fonzie's Happy Days instead. He was the lead by season 3. For Christmas the network gave each cast member a bag that matched. The VCR Winkler got was worth a lot of money. Afterward, Ron Howard said that he felt pushed to the side on his own show, but Fonzie kept getting bigger. The Smithsonian got his leather jacket. In every home, people would say his catchphrases, and sit on it. TV Guide named him the 4th best TV character of all time in 1999. When Happy Days finished in 1984, Henry Winkler was one of the most well-known people in the United States. But after the cameras stopped rolling, no one called him on the phone. He wasn't hired by anyone for almost 10 years. He was only the Fonz. People in charge couldn't look past the cool guy image, the leather jacket, or the catchphrases. Henry said it hurt him mentally, and made him unable to do anything. Having a family that loved him, and a place to live didn't make him feel safe. He turned down the lead in Grease, so that he wouldn't be stuck in a certain role. It didn't matter though. They only saw Fonzie in every interview room. It broke him. He didn't give up though. He changed his mind instead. He started his own business, Fair Dinkum Productions, in secret while things were going well. He had a deal with a big company by 1987. He was no longer just playing. Real projects were being made by him. MacGyver was one of the biggest. It became a huge hit, and even won a Genesis Award in 1991. He also helped bring the Sure Thing reports, and So Weird to life. It started to show up in the credits again. But this time he wasn't in front of the camera. He was still in the game because of that. Then he jumped again, this time to direct. He made the touching movie Memories of Me with Billy Crystal in 1988. After 5 years, he directed Cop and a Half, which starred Burt Reynolds. Even though it wasn't a big hit, Ron Howard's company made it. Yes, that Ron Howard from Happy Days. Henry slowly proved himself again, but this time he wasn't with the Fonz. At the same time, something strange took place. He got an award. There was no playing in it. It was for directing and creating a 1984 CBS school break show with Scott Baio as the star. It dealt with tough problems teens face and won him a Daytime Emmy for Best Children's Special. It saved my life. Even though Hollywood kept turning him down as an actor, they were secretly aware of how talented he was. He spent more time making shows for kids, and won more awards. It didn't matter if he was Fonzie. They knew he could make up stories. Even though all of this was going on, his personal life was rock solid. In 1978, Henry got married to Stacy Weitzman. Jed, her young son, loved Fonzie before Henry came along. They had 2 more kids together, Zoe in 1980 and Max in 1983. After many years, they now have 6 grandkids. Ace, who is 11 years old, and Henry have a tradition where Ace gets a shot glass from every place Grandpa visits. Henry loves taking them all to dinner and shows. When asked what made their marriage work, she said it was being able to listen as well as love. But Henry had a secret pain from his youth that hid behind his success and charm. When Jed was having trouble with a school project one night, Henry scolded him and told him to be the best he could be. It felt very much like home. Then he and Stacy gave Jed a test. Why the diagnosis? Having trouble reading. All of a sudden it all made sense. Henry knew he had it too when he was 31 years old. All the yelling, shame and self-doubt he felt while having a hard time in school. It wasn't being lazy. It had a name. He was very angry. I had been through a lot of pain for nothing, he told me. He was quietly failing at the table reads, missing lines and stumbling through scripts while playing the coolest guy on TV. He felt like a fake. His parents, who had fled Nazi Germany, wanted him to be perfect. They called him stupid and lazy instead. He now knew that the truth was very different. It changed him. Being told that didn't just make him better, it made him mad. Later, both of his kids, Zoe and Max, were also found to have it. To make sure no other kid had to go through what he did, he spoke out loud and with pride about dyslexia. He went even further after that. Henry and Stacy started the Children's Action Network with Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw in 1990. Their goal is to help kids get vaccinated and find homes to adopt them. Over the years, they've helped more than 200,000 kids get shots. The Norma Zarki Humanitarian Award was given to them for that work. Henry didn't just make it through Hollywood. He made it work for something bigger. Then Adam Sandler came along. Sandy sang a Chinook song on Saturday Night Live on December 3, 1994, and said that Fonzie was 1/4 Jewish. Everything changed because of that joke. He thanked Sandler by calling him. After that call they became friends. That friendship helped me stay alive. It saved his job 4 years later. Things went wrong while Sandler was filming The Waterboy in 1998. His actor for Coach Klein dropped out at the last minute. At 11:30 p.m., Sandler called Winkler in a very worried tone. He told Henry, "I need a favor." Winkler didn't think twice. He got ready, drove to the set and put on makeup until 3:30 a.m. That overnight race turned into a big hit at the ticket office. The Waterboy made $190 million around the world, even though it only cost $20 million to make. It was crazy. After the show, Winkler made fun of Sandler by saying that while his adult co-stars got Meseratus, all he got was a cookie. There was something else about the gift though. He came back. Sandy got a lot of other roles after that one. He was in Sandy Wexler, Little Nicky Click and You Don't Mess with the Zohan. It wasn't just funny though. Winkler could finally act again, and that freedom led to new opportunities. In 2003, Arrested Development brought him a new kind of attention. His role as the hilariously bad lawyer Barry Zuckerkorn turned into a regular one even though he was only meant to show up once. Winkler stayed for 32 shows over 5 years. There were lots of funny inside jokes on the show. After the famous Fonzie scene that made the phrase jumping the shark popular, Barry jumped over a shark on a pier in one scene. After that, Scott Baio was hired to take Barry's job just like in Happy Days. Baio even said, "This isn't the first time I've taken Barry's place." People really liked it. Even though Winkler was back to being funny, he also showed that he could be dramatic. His part on The Practice was Dr. Henry Olsen, which was serious and emotional. It ran from 1999 to 2000. It got him a nomination for an Emmy,
which was the first real nominee in almost 20 years. He was working hard to get out from under Fonzie's shadow at the time. It worked, but Winkler still had more surprises for people. He played Dr. Lou Saperstein on Parks and Recreation, a dad to two of the craziest characters on the show who didn't know what he was doing and loved his kids too much. There was a lot of chaos between Jen Ralphiot and Mona Lisa, and he liked it all. He answered right away when Mona Lisa yelled, "I have never done anything wrong. I love you and know this." His way of raising kids was terrible, but it was great for comedy, because of a lie his kids told him. He even tried to destroy Tom Haverford's business. In the last episode, he helped them fake a death so they could open a casino in Tajikistan. That's the kind of crazy backing that only Winkler could make funny and believable. There was something else going on behind the camera. He made a small deal in 2003 to write 2 books for kids. There are now many books based on those 2. There are 17 books in the Hank Sipser series, which is about a kid with dyslexia. The next one was Here's Hank, which had 12 more. After that came Detective Duck, Ghost Buddies, and Alien Superstar. That adds up to 38 books. The BBC even made a show about Hank Sipser, and Winkler played Mr. Rock, because of someone who helped him when he was a kid. In 2016 the holiday show played. It was all streamed on HBO Max in 2022. Kids all over the world read his stories, and many of them had dyslexia like Winkler. Then Barry showed up. Bill Hader asked HBO in 2016 if they could get Winkler to try out. What did Winkler hear? He got ready with the help of his son Max. Gene Cousineau was meant to be a cold and cynical figure, but Winkler gave the part heart. Gene was still selfish, but he got a soul from him. In 2018 he finally won his first Emmy for that role. 43 years had passed. He said, "I wrote this 43 years ago." When he got on stage, people stood up. He then said, "The chips will come to you if you stay at the table long enough. I also got to clear the table tonight." He spoke for 19 seconds, but he made every second count. The pandemic made Barry's 3rd season late. The factory stopped making things in March 2020. It started up again after 2 years. When shooting started up again in 2022, Winkler was in his mid-70s and had to follow strict COVID rules. Not as many people on set, testing all the time, and no crowd. Still, it was worth it. Many people really liked season 3. Winkler kept giving strong performances that were a good mix of dark humor and real feeling. The awards came next. 2 of the critics' picks win. He or she has been nominated for 4 Emmys, 4 SAG Awards, and 3 Golden Globes. Jim, his character, was one of the most memorable on TV because of how she dealt with sadness, guilt, and growth. Something very important happened to Henry Winkler in September 2011. The Queen gave him an OBE, which stands for Honorary Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. People in the US don't often get that. There was no performance award for Winkler though. It was his reward for helping kids in the UK who have dyslexia and other learning problems. This wasn't a one-time stay. He worked with British schools for many years. He helped spread the word about the project My Way, which showed that kids learn in different ways. The government backed it up, and put together by First News, a newspaper for kids. Winkler really cared about this cause, because he knows what it's like to fight. He wasn't told he had dyslexia until he was 31 years old. There was more to him than just fame when he talked to kids at Howard Primary School in Croydon, or when he went to Belfast. He was someone who knew what it was like. The kids paid attention because they saw someone just like them. His message was easy to understand. You're not hurt, you just learn in a different way. That lesson, which was based on real life, really stuck with me. The OBE wasn't just a way to get famous. It was about how he changed and touched people's lives. What he does in his daily life is the same kind of caring. Winkler felt like she wasn't understood as a child. His folks didn't notice that he had dyslexia for years, which changed how they treated him. Having a child made him decide to change how he lived his life. In 1978, he got married to Stacy Weitzman. Zoe, born in 1980, Max, born in 1983, and Jed, Stacy's son from a previous relationship, were their 3 children. One time, Winkler said, "I love the idea of being able to listen and not repeat my parents." The way he treats his grandkids also shows that he has that view. He now has 6 of them. They are India, Ace, Lulu, Jules, Gus, and Francis Joan. A seventh is on the way. Winner doesn't just take Ace to McDonald's when he wants to. He calls Ace's mom, Zoe, first to make sure it's okay. He still respects her job as a parent. Winkler remembers a story about Max. Max had music playing while he did his homework. Hank didn't get it at first. He then thought that the music might not be a bother. It could have helped Max tune out the world's noise. That changed the way he thought about school. Like him, he saw that his kids had their own ways of focusing. Zoe also went through hard times. She learned to read after everyone else in her class. Now though, she works as a preschool teacher in Santa Monica. She made something strong out of that fight. Winkler's love is bigger than jobs or grades. His granddaughter loves Barbies and goes dress up sometimes. Some people might raise a question. No, Winkler doesn't. He just smiles and tells her to get in the boat and paddle down the river. It's easy for him. Each child should be loved just the way they are.